When I was first interested in cars, cars were designed in this very way. So this vehicle here makes me immediately feel 20 years younger and is surely a very unique piece you especially wanted to see. The Subaru WRX STi, today on Autogefühl, your #1 resource for in-depth car reviews and your #1 community to discuss cars. Today with Thomas. We're going to take a detailed look on the exterior, interior and the rally racing style driving experience exclusively for you. And everything of that we are doing in full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go! Welcome, special driving preview, riding up the hill. This is in the footsteps of Colin McRae, one of my racing idols. And this vehicle here, it's slippery, it has rained, but with the all-wheel drive, and I think I can mainly just leave it in second gear. And let's see how we can get up the hill safely and also with good racing style. Car is super flat, super stiff, very well to control. Crisp in the shifting characteristic. The all-wheel drive gives me no wheel spin at all. The sound is already, you can hear that, definitely. And you can easily keep that engine at very high RPMs. So although it's a little bit wet on the road and also some leaves lying there, super grip. This vehicle is all about grip, and that's also about the WRC heritage. Pretty impressive here, a lot of fun to do it. Shifting back. Steering wheel is when you're in the corner, sometimes you feel it's a little bit too loose, so that could give you a little bit more feedback maybe. But still very well to control. Here you do have to do some steering work, but I think you expect that if you want a rather rough racing vehicle. Wow. And I think, it was surely fun to watch, but the main thing is, besides the screaming RPM engine, this was probably faster than it looked like. This is also the key of WRC racing. It looks already spectacular, but when you really been a co-driver once in a rally car with a professional racing driver, then you know how fast it really is. And this vehicle is surely full of that. Let's go with the rest of the review. What a characteristic front for sure. The WRX in the US, you also get it as a normal mid-size vehicle. In Europe, we only get the STi, the top sports version, that is featuring, for example, a strong lower front, a lot of dark sporty elements, the STi logo and this classic air intake here, rally style, pure rally style for sure. You can also get LED headlights, for example, and recently there has been an update, but this is rather for the US customers. Definitely this is old school style and it is so unique, only the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo has this kind of style maybe. Other than that, there's no real competition. 4.60 meters or 15'1" is the total length, mid-size sedan, you could say so. 18-inch rims here in a black style, STi logo, but overall the design layout is rather conservative from a basic form. We just have the contrasting mirror caps and pretty upright windows. And then, this little fella, it's really huge, isn't it? So I usually say, what the hell, why should you do that design-wise? But I think this is only, one of the very rare vehicles where this wing really fits. So it is about the old school style, about the rally racing style, and this is maybe something, you know, where I do make an exception. Prices, by the way, the normal WRX starts below 30,000 euros in the US, the STi above $30,000, and twice dollars of course, and no euros in the US. And then speaking about euros, as we only have the STi in Germany, over 40,000 with all extras, GPS and stuff, we get about 47,000 for this very vehicle. If you consider other sporty cars that are that sporty, sometimes you pay even more. So it's not cheap, but it's not expensive for such a brutal racing car. You have to be sure about that. What do you think about the design so far? So if you have a stopover, you can serve food and beverages here on the rear wing. That's no problem, it's broad enough. Meanwhile, with this version here, you see there's a little curve in it to make it a little bit more elegant. Other than that, also a relatively conservative old school design in the rear, but that's what you want to have when you buy this vehicle. And no fake exhaust at all. Those 4 pipes there are for real. And here we go. What is being cooled right there? That's a 2.5 liter flat engine, turbo, 300 horsepower, all-wheel drive, 5.2 seconds to 100 kilometers or 62 miles an hour. It looks pretty rough as everything. It doesn't have a special cover. A lot of fluid here, green fluid right there, right? Is that normal? I haven't seen that. Maybe it's there for protection. Maybe someone who works in a workshop, in the car workshop, can tell us what is this purpose of. Is it grease? Is it protection grease or something like that? It looks, I mean, it doesn't look that it's what has been rinsed. It looks, you know, placed on purpose. Maybe someone of you engine experts can get us some clarification. The flat engines, by the way, you know, have a special principle, and they are supposed to hold even longer, good build quality, and customers say they're very satisfied with Subaru engines. So we got that blue pearl exterior covered. Let's move on to the interior. You open the car here at the Subaru logo. Same than with BMW, where you, no, it's opposite. BMW, you close it with the BMW and open it here. Here you close it and open with the Subaru logo. So it's the opposite. Then you see the doors are relatively slim. That will have an impact on the overview. And then interesting, the build quality. Here the top part is no hard plastic. It's really soft and has this leather look. Just look. The nice Alcantara in the STi versions with red console stitches, nicely done. This is just plastic, but it is aluminum look. Then automatic windows for all 4 doors. Just the lower part, I mean, in really expensive vehicles, is still just, you know, synthetic, but I think it's okay. Then the interior, pretty amazing with red contrast stitches, fits very well with a contrast to the blue pearl exterior. Special steering wheel with a flat bottom, for example, and perforated sides. The seats come standard with Alcantara, so microfiber on the inside, very well done, visually very good. It says leather in the price list. I'm not exactly sure if it's animal skin or leatherette. Probably it is animal skin. I'm not really sure. You can never, no one could tell actually, and leather is also not a term that is protected anyway, so you can use it as you like. But at least the main thing is microfiber Alcantara, so we are already content with that. Low seating position. You're in a sporty vehicle, but the difference is the rest of the vehicle is also low. It is not a caged-in vehicle where you feel lost. You sit relatively above the car, like in Mazda MX-5 for example, and that is the old school style. Always when we have some vintage cars in our reviews, or maybe do those generation episodes, then you feel that from generation to generation, you sit more on the car, and then you move down, 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 everything gets, you know, bulkier around you. Here you have very good overview to all of the sides. That's remarkable. The seats can be pumped up in the house like this. The back part can also be pulled. Now special features coming up, because you know, you want to get maybe a nice girl with this vehicle, say, hey, you know, I'm you know, great rally driver. Let's get in, have some, you know, professional rally racing driver. I'm showing you off, and then you do the same thing with the other seats, and you can, you know, just park in front to a mountain crest or something like that, and then you do it like this. And then you can do the same with this seat, and you can say, hey, what's going on? Like this, you know, then saying, what do you think about my car and what do you think about me? And then start sleeping, for example. It's a very good sleeping position. Then also the steering wheel can be adjusted in all 4 ways, like this, so that's possible, and it's actually pretty compact, sporty as it's supposed to be. And by the way, of course, last remark, I mean, you can also be, I know actually a lot of women also are great rally drivers, and of course it also works the other way around, because if you're one of our women viewers here, female viewers in Autogefühl, which we do have a couple of 100,000, so best greetings to them too, especially. And then you know, see some guy at the side of the road, and he will be totally amazed seeing a woman in this vehicle, and we say, of course I get in the co-driver seat. So maybe a good tip for women here to get some acquaintance. Cockpit overview. I mean, there's no special design scheme here, but the build quality is really great. Here, soft material on all over the dashboard right there. Just this one is, yes, hard plastics. And then the knobs, for example, for the vents here, still in a classic style with red contrasts here in the STi. Good clicking sound, good build quality, metal knurling around. So really good stuff what they've done here. Just, you know, this arrangement of the screens. Here you can see the consumption all of the time. Yeah, it's gone quite up. Also where the vents are coming from, but the split here on the screen, I'm not even sure if that's necessary. You control it right there. Then the screen, touch screen, soon more details to that. Volume knob is still manual, but I'm not sure if this split is still really necessary. Soon more details to the red instruments, pretty interesting. Again, the steering wheel, compact, flat bottom, sporty style, here we go. And the shifting stick here, gear lever, this one here, pretty amazing. Also crisp, short, red, all about sporty style. And carbon fiber covers there to stress the rally style. Instruments right here, wow, this red background looks pretty fancy. And the middle one looks a little bit old school too. There you can see digital speed, for example, or also how you arrange this differential. So the infotainment screen, touch screen all the way. You can also use mirror link, but that's obviously the only system that is working. Other than that, you go for the telephone button and then connect it via Bluetooth, but that's fine. Audio streaming then, or DAB radio, and the map, it is this glass screen, it is capacitive. The responsive times, you know, sometimes it lags a little bit behind, so it could be a little bit faster, but I mean, it's relatively up to date what we can see here. And the rear view camera, let's see if it's already activated. Yes, you do not have to start the engine for that, that's good. It could be a little bit better in resolution, but you can see everything. It's definitely good to have it just to protect your rear wing, for example. In the front there, hidden aux in and 2 USB ports, and you know, some space to put something right there. This is a drive selector for Sport, Sport Plus, or just normal driving mode, and it will not change too much if you have a manual gearbox, just a little bit also with the stability control, and it gives some interesting beeping sounds then when it's displayed when you press it, and maybe you can do some music with it then, as in For example, like that. Then there's the differential, lock or auto mode, and then you can also manual control it, like minus, more torque to the rear, plus, more torque to the front. You can play around with those settings. Usually it will just be okay if you leave the all-wheel drive as it is, but it's interesting to have those functions. Then some very much holders, soft bottom, and this one here, this lash will also adapt it a little bit and hold the bottles tighter. Then nice Alcantara cover here for the armrest. By the way, we got the seat heating there. But when you open it, then you know it's a little bit loose. That could have been fixed a little bit better. And then some more space there and a second 12-volt power supply. So what about the rear compartment? Because I mean, it's not a two-seater sports vehicle. Maybe you want to have some people in here, and is that possible? So you see that the top part of the sport seats is quite big, and that is limiting the knee space. If I would be smaller, my knees would be like there, and then they could fit easily, but not for tall people driving and tall people here behind. It's not really working that well. Headroom wise, it's no problem. I'm 1m86 or 6'1". That does work. Maybe if the seat would be a little bit more upright, so you can arrange it a little bit. But it's spacious to the sides, because again here the windows are very upright, and even also soft plastics used on the inside of the doors. Alcantara here, also the rear style with Alcantara, so very well done here also in the rear. There's a 1/3, 2/3 split for turning the seats. You can do it from here with those release buttons. However, there's no way to adjust the angle of the seats. It's either release it or don't release it, and that's it. Isofix anchors at the outside seats. There are also top tethers behind the seats, and then there's an interesting mechanism here for the bevel shoulders. And here it is with an interesting mechanism. Then your kids are also well off here. So let's open that hatch. It goes up with a massive wing, and of course, as we know from a classic sedan, you are quite limited in how you put things in, but there's reasonable space on the inside. Of course, it's not in the state for sure. There's also this this panic handle, by the way, here, you know, to get out of the trunk, and if the mafia put you in there, for example. And then below the cover here, some tools, and then there's also a spare tire if you're maybe on a super special stage and need to switch tires or something like that. And now to the normal driving part. But the question is anything normal with this vehicle? Let's go to the Sport Plus mode again. It's fitting to the red traffic light. Holy! What the hell? That was some serious clutch. But was there any car behind us? Because usually, well, you do see the car behind us framed in the rear wing. It's so funny. You look to the rear mirror and you see the frame. You know, see the frame, and then you see, oh, there's the vehicle. And what is going on with this vehicle? I mean, yeah, the acceleration figure is, I think, just about 5 seconds, just a little over 5 seconds to 100 kilometers or 62 miles an hour. But with this vehicle, everything feels faster somehow. Wow. And this was the sport mode, and with the sport mode, you feel, for example, when I'm on the fourth gear, get a little bit better response than everything, but it's of course more about the gear choice. If you go to the normal I mode, doesn't make such a big difference. Steering wise, let's see if there's any difference. Yeah, I guess, I mean, with those driving modes, you rather have a bigger difference, for example, when you have a CVT, you know, with Subaru. We had that before, and then the characteristics of the CVT changed a little bit. Here it's more about, you know, electric stability control. Also, you can change the differential a little bit, and What is this guy, man? What's going on, man? In the house, y'all. So you can change the differential. For example, if I go to the minus mode, that means I have more torque over the rear wheels. Might be some fun. Or if I go to the plus mode, I have more torque over the front wheels, for example, for slippery situations and stuff. But I mean, you've seen that at the traffic light. With this vehicle, if you work the clutch just a little bit, you can do so much. And I mean, with most of the modern vehicles, I mean, the clutch is the clutch and you use it to switch gears, but you cannot do so much with it. But this is a real racing clutch. You can do, really play with it, and good experienced drivers can use it to their advantage. You immediately feel that. And I mean, you've seen that or felt that acceleration we just had. That was really amazing again. What is going on? I mean, this, especially 250, I mean, the 100 acceleration figure is not that impressive. Of course, I mean, just over 5 seconds is always great, but especially 250, this vehicle gets so much grip on the ground. It's really like a rocket. If you just go 0 to 50 kilometers, it's totally insane. I mean, even in the normal driving mode here, let's see if we at the moment have more to the front. Yeah, I think I really feel that the front tires are pulling me a little bit more. So now I go to the minus mode. Let's see if that changes anything. Interesting. You do feel that. You do feel that. So with do you also feel it, the difference? So Michelle also feels this, co-driver and cameraman. So when you're in this minus mode, you really feel you're more pushed from behind, and if you go to this plus mode, you feel like you're more pulled from the front. So the all-wheel drive really changes this distribution. Or you can also go to the lock mode, and you have the central differential locked. Or you can just go to the middle outer mode, where it's done by the vehicle itself. Usually you leave it in this place, but it's really amazing how much you can play around with this vehicle. There are a lot of different elements you can switch around. It really feels like you're in a professional racing team for yourself. And then you think, well, let's change something at the suspension, let's change the all-wheel drive distribution setting, let's try just another lap. So with those different settings we have here, it would be very amazing if we would go to a racetrack maybe, or to a rally course, and then drive the very same track all over again, and just have some nuances in the settings, and then compare what is really making sense. And I think that's also something about this vehicle. The suspension is rough, definitely. Yeah. So it's nothing where you say, yeah, I mean, in everyday driving life you would want to have that necessarily. It's not too bad. You can live with it, but it's not that it would be super comfortable. It's really also optimized for the racing spirit. If you want it more comfortable, just go for the normal WRX. You can do that in the US and most other world markets. Again, as I said initially, not possible in Germany to go for a normal WRX, sadly. So this one is the only one available. Emotional elements are not only, even if you are here in the normal city driving life, not only if you look at the rear wing and you see people behind you framed in the rear wing, that's always funny. Also when you look to the front and see this massive power dome for the air intake, you always think, hey guys, I'm Colin McRae, man. Don't you realize? Resurrected back in this WRX. I wish it was the case. So big fan. Yeah, but just to have this spirit inside the vehicle, that's really something special. Also, what is remarkable, doors and stuff, it's really thin, so you have also steep angles then at the windows, so you have a very good overview. It is a racing car, but one probably with the best overview so far I've seen. Even the rear wing, as it's so huge, it doesn't really block. Yeah, I'm just talking about the rear wing, but come on, Rear wing, yeah. Thumbs up for the rear wing, and we'll see how many thumbs we can collect for that rear wing. You know, I'm usually saying, not too much, you know, keeping it really elegant and subtle. But in this case, maybe it's one of the very rare vehicles where you say, okay, this one has really some rally racing history. To me, it's the only vehicle that is allowed to have this rear wing, probably. Let's take it that way. Okay, Michelle's laughing, so yeah, I stick with my opinion. Maybe you join me on that one. So if you also think this car should be allowed to have this big rear wing, also give me some thumbs up for that. Please someone create a comment for that and then sum it up. So the normal consumption, you maybe see it there, it can have some 11 liters. You can also put it lower, but most of the time when you want to hit the throttle just a little bit, you will bring this vehicle also to higher consumptions. It's not really the vehicle to save fuel with. Also, when 300 horsepower, at some point you do use them, and that's what you have to live with. The steering itself, it's very sporty natural. So it's not the most modern direct steering where you don't have to steer too much. You do have to steer a little bit. That would be something a racing driver expects. So it is an old school steering. So it has an old school feel. Overall, I think it's very good. It's suitable to the car because this car all over the place says, I'm still the old school stuff, you know. That's who I am, and that's how I'm going to be. And I think it's fine from the vehicle concept then. And how the vehicle responds. There's no tilting at all, so it's a true racing machine, that's for sure. Let's see if that true racing machine's also having some assistant systems. Here the blind spot monitor flashes quite early, that's good. See when vehicles are approaching. I mean, we are using that now because we are driving the speed that is allowed, and hardly anyone in Germany is interested in what the speed limit is currently applying. But most of the time, you will not see so many cars in the rear mirror of this vehicle. Third gear, 70, 100. That was just third gear without bringing it to more RPMs, just to know. Let's see if that changes anything now when I go to this special racing mode. Let me just check that again. Yeah, I mean, now you feel a difference. When you're in this racing, although we have a manual transmission, the car gets more RPM. So this sport mode does change. I mean, in effect, it would be bigger in the CVT, in the automatic. We have that with other cars as well. That those driving modes more apply to automatic transmissions. But then again, you do feel a difference here. For example, let's go back to third gear go. So at the moment, for example, I'm in 80 in third gear, 4,000 RPM. If I go back to the normal mode, it drops a little bit down, and you also the sound is a little bit different. Oh, damn it. I guess that is really something. However, now talking about Autobahn driving, it gets rather noisy in here. So the car is not only loud from the engine, it's also loud as for the wind insulation. So not really a vehicle you want to travel on the Autobahn with a very long time. There's also cruise control available. So I just set it to 100 now. Now on plain roads, it's also quite fairly comfortable to ride. It's okay. You feel that it's still stiff, but it's not that it would be too bad. The seats hold you very tight. For a long-term run, it could be maybe a little bit too tight. Depends, of course, always on your body stature. And you sit very upright and high in the car, so everything else is very low. That's also coming to this overview. It's not one of those sports vehicles where even as a tall person you disappear, you're a dwarf inside a small sports car, and you look like, oh, where I am? I'm in a Formula 1 car, maybe I can see outside. But here's more like, the car is below you. This is an interesting concept, again, really old school style, as you feel the same in rather old vehicles, for example. So the cruise control here is not adaptive. There's just a normal cruise control. You put in the speed and that's basically it. But it's okay, because with a manual transmission, I think not just a normal cruise control makes sense, because all the adaptive cruise control makes sense when you have the automatic transmission, then can really reduce the speed until zero, until the still stands. So that's making more sense, this combination, than for sure. You feel that I have to raise my voice really a lot, even just cruising 100 kilometers an hour, because it's really rather noisy in this vehicle. So not a good result as for the noise insulation. Maybe this is the old type of vehicle form. Maybe just they just said, vehicle buyers, they want to hear the car anyway, what the hell about sound insulation, something like that. Maybe one of those reasons for that. So, with the plus and minus mode, torque distribution, I would just leave it in normal mode. As the all-wheel drive, the vehicle knows pretty well what to do. Why not? And now we'll show you some big acceleration very soon, what this car is really capable of. I can promise you this will, looking at the red shifting stick that already says, do it once more, Thomas. Yeah, and I will. Red contrast strips is also on the inside of the steering wheel. Some really good sporty elements for sure. This vehicle is really something that challenges you everywhere, every day when you drive it. I'm not saying that it's necessarily a very good thing, because it can also be dangerous if you always think you have to go faster. But it's at least exactly the type of thing that someone would expect when buying such a vehicle, really to be challenged once more. So there's some traffic coming, and after that I think we can start. So we will just let one vehicle pass and then we go. Let's go. That's 200 and I can hardly hear myself. So that's again about the sound insulation. And I think you especially saw how fast this vehicle came to, about 80. That was really impressive. And this vehicle really wants some RPMs. You see, I really got it more into the red areas. Well, it's actually sure. Maybe it would have been better if I shifted somewhat earlier. But then again, if you look, for example, at some professional racing drivers, how they really push the cars into the red areas, you can do that with that engine. It's not a big problem for that engine. So I'll also rewatch that. But the thing is, this vehicle really accelerates so fast in each gear. Even if you think about, now would be the time to shift up. In that moment, the car has already reached the rev limiter, and you have to shift up anyway. So that's the thing about this vehicle. So you don't even have time to wait for the next shifting process. That's that's the thing. Pretty amazing for sure. What do you think about the sound, by the way? Sure, it's always different if you're from the inside and from the outside. But people really recognize this vehicle, no doubt. Someone told me recently with the Maserati I should hammer the throttle here in the tunnel. Let's pull down the rear windows. It's not too loud actually, right? So I went back to the second gear even now, but so while driving the car it's not too loud actually. Well, I heard you can do something with it in third-party applications to change the exhaust without, you know, messing with the technology too much. But again, I mean, I think it's loud enough. Just enjoy the acceleration then. Also the shifting ways as they are, very crisp and sporty. So quite short, definitely. And they are not smooth at all. So they also are set on the experience you want to have. If you say, I want a rough sports car, I really want to feel like a 1970s Formula 1 car, for example, where everything was still manual work, and that is also a feeling that this car is transporting. So it's driving wise definitely a modern car which tells you I'm still the real deal. If you like it or not, this car is definitely love or hate. So guys, our trip to the past has ended right now with our conclusion. I hope you really enjoyed it. Exterior, there is no match for this vehicle. There are other mid-sized cars, there are other sports cars, but there's maybe next to the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo, which is not even available in most of the markets anymore. This one is still some old school rally stuff, 80s or 90s, let's say rally 90s style, and you hardly find that, so pretty unique for sure. And as I said earlier, probably the only vehicle where I do for myself, for my personal taste, allow to have such a big rear wing. The interior is very well processed, so it comes close to a premium vehicle in some points. Yeah, you know, at some other elements we lack a little bit of build quality, but overall for a non-premium car we see a lot of very good processing, and we've seen it with a couple of other Subaru vehicles, that's for sure. Driving wise, this is also unique, so rough, so sporty, so back to the roots style, especially here with the manual gear shifter, which has a really crisp characteristic. You can use the clutch a lot to easily burn it as well with so much power. So this one is still when you want the real deal, the old school deal. And I wouldn't necessarily pick it as an everyday driver car, but maybe if I would have an area where I don't have to put number plates on, maybe somewhere in Canada, for example, I have my own ranch where I, of course I'm not holding animals there, that's for sure, but maybe I'm holding wild animals like this one and really give it on gravel roads for the rally racing style. That's probably the best thing you can do with this very vehicle. I'm looking forward to your feedback, guys. Put it all in the comments. And of course, see you at the very next Autogefühl episode. Thank you so much for watching.